So who is the ideal client that I would prefer to work with? Now, if you know anything about clinical practice, whether that's clinical social work, clinical psychology, psychiatry, there's a whole host of different people with different personalities, different issues, different life experiences. So in fact, I would say there is no ideal client, but there is a quest to try to identify the type of person, the people that you would, most like to work with so that you could get the best experience and provide them with the best support possible so that you don't become burnt out, right? There's a certain concept in the field called being burnt out where you start to take on some of the issues and the challenges that the people that you work with, and you kind of carry them along, and it becomes your load, and it becomes difficult to debrief, de-stress, and to relax. So you don't want to be that type of person. But my name is Taharka Sankaro, and I'm a clinical social worker, licensed clinical social worker. I'm a licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor, as well as certified as a trauma-focused cognitive behavior therapist. And I work with parents and youth so that they can refine the quality of their relationships, so that they can increase their self-awareness, they can enhance the quality of their communication, and they can also develop some emotional management skills so that they can enjoy peace of mind and be able to transfer some intergenerational health. Now, having an ideal client is something that most clinicians would love to have, right? But there is no such thing as an ideal client, not that I think anyway, because there's a whole host of issues that you're going to be confronted with and introduced to along your way in clinical practice. But there is certain, I guess, characteristics, traits that you would like to work with that I think that most people will find agreeable, right? For one, you want to be able to work with someone who is motivated to participate in the services that's being provided. And like when you're working with youth, they're not really motivated. They're usually being forced or stipulated to participate either by the school, the court, or their parent. And usually there is disgruntledness, right? They don't really see a need. It's difficult for them to identify what they would like to be accomplishing. Because one of the things I like to do when I'm working with someone is to have them identify a desired outcome, right? And based on that desired outcome, we then can seek to establish some goals to accomplish, right? Maybe 1, 2, maybe 3, the tops, that we can actually work towards during our time together. And that desired outcome is to have a peace of mind, right? A breath of fresh air. But you want to be able to identify some specific things that will actually lead to that breath of fresh air. And when I was in school, there was a certain concept, solution focus, right? Be solution focused, and you're a change agent. And so I work with this same concept of being solution focused, because every problem does have a solution. You just have to be willing to sit long enough and think hard enough and to discuss it with the right people to figure out what the best solution is to your particular problem. Now, if you're someone, or if you find that your child is working with someone and they're more focused on the problem, they want to dig down deep into like the historical experiences of what got them there. Now, early on, you do want to develop some type of historical context, right? Like you want to get an idea of what's the pattern of behavior, what got you here, and that gives a baseline for where we are headed. But in no way do you want to focus strictly on the problem. That's a problem-focused approach. And usually when you got a problem-focused approach, you get stuck with the problem. You're embedded in the problem, and you may not see much progress. So you want to have a solution-focused approach where you can actually identify, where am I headed? Where am I going? So you get to create a positive orientation around that. You get to develop some positive goals around that. That's specific, some measurable outcomes that you're looking for. You get to establish a time frame, right, that you would like to accomplish them by. So you want to have someone who's willing to work and be proactive, That's one of the things that I look for, someone who's willing to be proactive, that is actually interested in taking the steps and making a decision and changing some behaviors that they can actually get to the desired outcome that they have. And I also want to be working with someone who is receptive, right? Because this thing right here is about worldview and shifts and paradigm shifts and changes. Because the way we look at the world in a particular way is probably the result that we're encountering in our lives. And if we continue to look at the world in that same type of way, we're generally going to have the same type of outcome. So I look for someone who's receptive to feedback and willing to make the adjustments that may be required in order to get that desired outcome. So receptivity is very important. Being proactive is very important. Being motivated is very important. And having a desired outcome that you would like to achieve. So those are some things that I look to work with someone. Some of the qualities or characteristic traits as the ideal client. But oftentimes we know that that is not the person that comes and sits before us or needs the information and the guidance that we have to share. But again, if we want to identify and look for people who are more helpful, I suggest that you join our Next Gen Parenting group, where we have an opportunity to discuss some of these things so that you can actually identify and pinpoint the person that may be able to help your child, help you and your child and your family to the best, to reach your best potential. So join the Next Gen Parenting group, where we get the virtual village to work together so that you could have some positive outcomes on your parenting journey. So I look forward to seeing you in that room.